Live. So, hi there. We are
Hey,
excited. We are excited to start another AMA episode with Mark Zeller from Aave team. My name is Nadia, and I'm going to be an AMA series host. In the beginning, I would like to say a little bit about how it will go. We asked DeFi community to post questions about Aave at our Alpha DeFi forum. So we sourced a few interesting questions for AMA there. And we will ask a few questions from our team as well. Thank you, Mark and DeFi community for joining us today. And here we go. The first question is, can you briefly introduce yourself and give us a little of your background and what got you into DeFi?
hey, so I'm Marc Zeller. As you can probably hear it, I'm French, and I created with a few friends Ethereum friends community in Paris. We organized meetups, and that's how we dived down into Ethereum in 2015, late 2015. And basically, I work with consensus with regulated French worker coiners, and I'm very, very happy to have joined last year Aave, the Aave team for the launch of the new Aave protocol. The Aave team was started the project in 2017. It was called ETHLend, so Ethereum Lending, and it was a peer-to-peer money market protocol. And now the Aave protocol that we all know today is a money market protocol based on lending pool architecture with a lot of new features that maybe we will talk about, like flash loan, credit delegation, stable rates, and so on and so forth. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. And Aave is launching a new version of its protocol, the Aave V2. Could you highlight the main changes from the previous version?
There's a lot of new things. The Aave V2 was okay, say that the achievement of a lot of work since quite a few months from the Aave core developer team. And basically, it all boils down to the idea of having what we call the seamless finance, so finance without borders. The whole idea of DeFi, decentralized finance, is to make us as user owner of our assets, of our own money. And in traditional finance, that may be something that we lost because we are so used to just put our assets into a bank, and basically a bank is a black box where you put your money, you don't know what they do with it, and they just play around with it, make some money out of it, and you get nothing. And even worse case, you pay fee to them so they can make money with your money. And the whole point of DeFi is to take back the control to your own money. And the V2 and what we call seamless finance is to allow more features and possibility to move around and act with your assets. That's why V2 is much more focused on trading and swapping. So for example, on DeFi right now, if you deposit, let's say, some ETH as collateral and you want to borrow some DAI in order to buy stuff, well, when you start your relationship with DeFi, you have some ETH, and then you have a debt that is labeled in DAI, and then you spend the DAI to do whatever you want. But when it's time to pay back your debt, well, you have some ETH and you don't have the DAI anymore. So you need to find a way to buy some DAI on the market and pay back your debt, because that's how it works. With features like repay with collateral, you just need to click on one button, and the protocol is gonna grab a small portion of your ETH, convert it seamlessly in the background for DAI, and pay back your debt. And basically, you exchange 3-4 action of having to withdraw, convert on one each, or power swap, or this kind of aggregators, and then repay, all this kind of using 3 or 4 protocols. No, with V2 is one click of a button into the protocol. And also we will have a lot of new features around flash loans. Margin deposits, margin loans in order to do margin trading, collateral swaps, debt swaps. So let's say, for example, you have ETH as debt, as collateral in order to borrow some funds, but you think that in the short term, the ETH value will go down, but you still think that in the long term, the ETH value will go up. And basically what you will be able to do soon is that one click of a button and your ETH collateral will be swapped thanks to a flash loan to maybe USDC collateral. And as USDC is a stable coin, you can keep the same borrowing power and the same collateral value during the downturn of ETH, for example. And when you think we reach the bottom and the trend reverse to a higher trend, a more long term, you can swap back into ETH, and basically you are not exposed to that downturn. All this kind of stuff, and also native credit delegation that will allow more options for lenders, liquidity providers into Aave in order to increase their yield on average.
Okay, thank you. Can Aave be forked and reproduced on other blockchains? When are we on top of Tron?
Not today, that's for sure, and not this week. So one thing that is really important is that we are 100% open source. So basically, all our code is auditable and accessible to anyone. So if the question is, does Aave can be copy-pasted into other blockchain? In theory, yes. And for example, Tron is EVM based, so they use exactly the same technology as Ethereum, because Tron is just a copy-paste of Ethereum, and some will say knockoff. And basically, if they want to do it, they can do it technically. And basically, that's what they did. And most DeFi protocol exists today on Tron with like a copy version. They just changed the name and the logo, but when you look at the code, it's almost the same thing. But what you cannot fork is the community. And that's why in DeFi community is key, because when you have the traction, the network effect of having built something and having a community user around you, even if your code is 100% open source, you're not that concerned about forks in other blockchains. Mm-hmm. That being said, we are very open-minded with Aave. And if tomorrow another blockchain will be a serious alternative, not especially a competitor, but an alternative to Ethereum, that might be an area of interest of Aave. And that's not a door that is completely closed for us. But I think the best way to do that is not just to copy paste our architecture from Ethereum to the new blockchain, like Polkadot, Binance Chain, or whatever project they are out there, but maybe create a new frontier. And basically, you have a lot of community and assets on Ethereum, like Maker, the Link community, the Wi-Fi community, and those communities are on Ethereum and they are identified on Ethereum. If you want to replicate your protocol in another blockchain, they're never gonna follow you, because who can you really believe that a user of MakerDAO is gonna use Tron tomorrow? I don't believe that. But if another blockchain attracts an ecosystem of new dApps, of new products, of new assets, and that's interesting, that can be a new frontier for Aave, and not just replicate the collateral we have on Ethereum, but just have a new version of the protocol, maybe with specific feature for this new blockchain that the new technology allows, and with a widely new range of collaterals. And in that sense, maybe that's something we can consider. But just copy paste is not our thing. We are born and raised on Ethereum, and our focus today is on Ethereum.
Okay, thank you. New Aave V2 comes with native GasToken support. What else have you considered to save the gas cost? Vitalik pushing hard on moving to L2. What are your thoughts on that?
So there's the gas token is kind of a trick, like a blockchain trick you do with smart contracts that are completely useless, and then you destroy, and basically the network reimburse you some money because you put some trash on the street, and then the city will pay you back because you pick up the trash you just put on the street. And that's a weird system. I don't think that's sustainable, and maybe one day it will be changed to something else. And so that's one thing, but it's just a trick. With the Aave V2, the Aave core developer team did actual gas optimization. So they push to the limits what we can do with the Solidity language, the development language of Ethereum, to achieve natively and organically without any trick, like before any trick, a significant reduction. And on Aave V2 compared to Aave V1, you are depending on the action you do with the protocol, 40 to 70% reduction in gas cost. And on top of that, you will have the gas token reduction. So the Aave V2 will be much more efficient than the Aave V1 in that regard. In the context of layer 2, I really do believe that's the future of Ethereum. And that's not a far future. That's not 2021 plus. That's not Ethereum 2. Layer 2 is available today. There's a lot of research to be done. Security and safety is our top priority, as we are almost $1.5 to $2 billion protocol, so that we cannot take reckless action. But I do believe we can achieve that this year. There will be some form of action possible on layer 2 with Aave. Maybe not the full-fledged protocol, maybe not all the things, maybe just the support of the A tokens, maybe just the transfer of the A tokens, the interest yield-bearing assets. But step by step, we are focused on layer 2, and the community can expect very, very soon new announcements around that.
Okay. In the age of food tokens with 4-digit APR, what differentiates Aave from other DeFi offerings? For the average Joe, Aave and nameless forks could look pretty similar since both give him APR figure in return for locked-in crypto.
So basically, there's several answers to that. So basically, we are in the era of yield farming. So basically, you will provide some liquidity into an asset that a protocol that didn't exist 2 days ago and will not exist 3 days from now. And during that very short time frame, and very often is shorter than that, maybe a few dozen hours, you will get crazy high yields. And usually it's the high yield is on what we call the pool 2, which is like a very specific liquidity provider token. And the normal yield are more in the range of 100 to 500%. But still, that's very high, and I agree that's higher than what you can get on Aave as of today. But the first answer is that on Aave, you can get that all year, and you don't have to do what we call the crop rotation, change to a new protocol every day or every 2 days. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the safety on Aave is quite higher because we don't do what they call in the community rug pulls. So there's no exit scam that can happen in our protocol, and it's much more common in the food coins. And the third thing is that the food coins era, with what happened today with Uni and Uniswap, I think it's kind of dead now because Uniswap is back in the game. So all the food coins are not exactly started from there, but the growth of the food coin came from SushiSwap and all the clones of and very low effort clones of SushiSwap. And basically, I believe that Uniswap is back, and it's going to be much harder to to attract liquidity in some very shady coins when you have the Uniswap protocol that will give you some yield in asset that has some, at least in my eyes, some more midterm and long-term value.
Yeah. Okay. And how alternative lending platform offering flash loans without fees will impact Aave?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, the only alternative lending pool that has some traction on only on flash loan without fee is DYDX, but you have to compare the liquidity. So basically on DYDX, I don't remember how much liquidity they have, but a few dozen million. We have more than $1.5 billion of liquidity into Aave. So it's much easier to find enough liquidity on Aave. The Aave Flash Loan has been designed for developers, so it's much more easier to build on them. And why there's less liquidity on those protocols is that if you don't pay, the whole point of DeFi, the whole motto of DeFi and the ethos is that I'm the owner of my money. And if you want to play around with my money, you got to pay me for it. So why would
I'm sorry, I
liquidity,
cannot.
yeah, if someone plays with my money or any liquidity provider money, they got to pay me for it. And that's the plan of DeFi. It's not like in traditional finance when you deposit some asset into a bank account and the bank will. Is that all right? Everything all right? You can hear me, Nadia?
Yeah. Now I can hear you. Yeah, it was a
Um,
second of disconnection, but
okay.
now it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So the issue when you don't pay liquidity provider for the flash loan is that you don't attract them, because basically what you are doing is that you are allowing traders, market makers, doing arbitrage, liquidators to use your money and don't give you your fair share. And I think that's one of the biggest issue of offering flash loan without any reward is that the risk with flash loan is very, very low, but there's always risk. But if you have risk without any upside, that's not interesting for the liquidity provider. And the flash loan fees are very interesting for the liquidity provider on Aave because on ETH, on DAI, very, very often, the flash loan fee yield is higher than the deposit yield. So basically what you earn as a depositor, when you deposit some DAI or some ETH or some asset into Aave, you earn all the yields that are paid by the borrowers, and you earn also all the yield from the flash loans. And you have those two yields stacked together, and that's why Aave has the highest yield on average of the ecosystem, because we have these two sources of yield. And if you remove the flash loan, it's less interesting to be a liquidity provider. That's why we are not too concerned about platforms doing flash loan without fees, because they will end up with less liquidity.
Yeah. Revenue is an important aspect of all projects in order to survive and keep the project up and running. What is our way of generating revenue? What is the income model?
So basically, Aave means the Aave token holders. So there's the land asset, which is the current native asset. We just did a governance vote, which was very important last weekend. That was the single vote, and that was a landslide victory because we got 100% support as a result of the vote for more than 180 voters, individual address voting. And basically, the land asset very, very soon will become the Aave asset if the AIP1, so the official vote, confirm what happened during the single vote. And basically, the owners and the entities in control of Aave are the Aave token holders. And that's how it's designed, because we are a DeFi platform, and the D of DeFi is decentralized. And that's for the governance part, but that's also for the revenue part. And basically, what we launched with the Aave asset is the safety module. And when, as defined on the Aavenomics that we released a couple of months ago now, the stakers of the Aave asset will collect the inflation of the Aave asset. They will also collect almost all protocol fees. And that's basically the main revenue. And me as a team member, I own some land today, and I will convert my land into Aave if the AIP1 is voted positively. And that will be one of my revenue as well. And it's the same for every land that will become an Aave token holder. What are the current stakers revenue come from? There's two. The first one is the origination fee. So we don't take any cents on the interest paid by the borrowers to the lenders, to the liquidity providers. There's absolutely no cut. There's other protocols that take a cut, like 10%, like one of the big ones that is green is taking 10% each on the interest rate paid. We don't do that. But we take a flat fee when someone borrow some funds. We do believe that this fee should be defined by the governance and by the Aave token holders. So right now, this fee is very, very low. It's like 0.401%, so almost nothing. The second protocol revenue came from the flash loan. So basically, the protocol collects a fair percentage of the flash loan fees. And as we have dozens and hundreds of millions of dollars of volume of flash loan, that's quite a revenue overall. And that's basically, I do believe that model is sustainable.
Will it be possible to use NFT assets as collateral in Aave ecosystem?
It depends. For every collateral, the top priority for Aave is the safety of the protocol. So basically, when you do over collateralized loans, it's easy because you list into your money market some assets. Those assets have market value, some trading volumes, and basically why DeFi is so resilient, why there's no big issue with DeFi, even if there's quite an amount of money involved in all those protocols, is because as you always put more value as in collateral than what you borrow, there's always someone that is very happy to pay your debt on your behalf, because they're gonna, as there's more collateral than the amount of debt, they can take back the debt they paid on your behalf and take a premium on top of that, that we call the liquidation bonus or penalty. Depends, the glass is half full or half empty, depends on who we are looking to. And that's kind of simple to do, because if you have enough trading volume, there's always going to be some liquidator that is interested to book in 15 seconds a 5, 10, 15% gain. That's basically an arbitrage. With NFT, there's not, as most NFT are unique and they are on specific platform, it's more difficult to actually find people that are directly interested, because there's not such volume on those assets. That being said, in the context of, for example, credit delegation, you can do not non-collateralized loan, not under-collateralized loan, but alternative collateralized loans. And maybe that's something we can explore in the future. And I think that will be really interesting, of people that doesn't have speculative assets or regular assets that we list as collateral, but they have some NFT that may interest someone that is the lender. And maybe if the person cannot pay back, they will be more than happy to collect the NFT that has been used as a guarantee. And that's something that was explored in the ecosystem actually, like last year, if I'm not wrong, with Alex Masmej, the guy that is very famous for collateralizing himself. And one of his first venture was under collateralized loans, and he did basically loans with NFTs and ENS name as collateral. And basically, this DAO, and it was a DAO, and I was a member of it, did like serious profit in 6 months, and was like not able to scale. Obviously, it was just an experiment with the community, but I think there's a lot of potential in that way. So in that sense, it will be easier, and more in the long term, there's maybe other forms to do that. So the door is not closed at all, but it's something that needs to be more explored over time.
Okay, and the last one. Is Aave looking for adding privacy preserving solution into the protocol or UI? Where do you stand in discussion transparency versus privacy?
I think it's an important question. As a money market protocol, Aave should be neutral. Neutral means we are decentralized, we are permissionless, we are pseudonymous based. There's no such things as anonymity on Ethereum, because Ethereum is account based, and it's very, very hard to hide your identity on Ethereum. But as long as you don't reveal that this chain of 42 characters, hexadecimal characters is you, well, it's just a pseudonym. So your identity is preserved, at least to the wider audience that way. So For us, it's really important that the core feature remain that way. So no KYC, for example, to use Aave, or at least the main markets. We are going to launch private markets with, which will be permissioned, but with very specific collateral, like the realty market partnership that we announced very recently, that will allow some real estate exposition token as collateral. And this one will be KYC, but it's very specific kind of asset, and it's an option. And we will keep that vision that the main feature will always say decentralized. And I think privacy on Ethereum is not something you can do at the application layer. It's something that you should do at the protocol layer. Ethereum, and maybe the answer to that is layer 2. So basically you have a layer 2 that is more privacy focused, anonymous focused, where you can hide the money that gets in and the money that gets out and the transaction. But we are very, very far from there. And to be honest, the community on Ethereum as of today is not very concerned about anonymity, because everybody talks about privacy, but at the same time, just go to Twitter and everybody is markzeller.it, and that's my ENS, stuff.it, and basically everybody say, this is my address, and you can just follow them on Etherscan and know exactly every dollar they have, every protocol they use. So everybody talks on privacy, and at the same time, they show you their Ethereum name service address everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your answers and for your time. Well, that's wrapped up for AMA for today. Thank you again to Mark Zeller and Aave team for joining us, and all the community members viewing the stream. We will also add any links to the descriptions of the YouTube video once completed, so you can follow up with our research and explore Aave further. If you have questions that was not addressed, please feel free to drop by the DeFi Prime social channels after the chat, and we will do our best to answer them. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for answers. So bye-bye.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.